Originally tonight was supposed to be co-op with my wife, Kat. We have all the stuff we need. We have 2 of these headsets now. You know, we're still on par. We're going to do the co-op tonight. And I could already tell a little bit that maybe Kat was a little, like, frazzled about it. So I said, I'll go look at the washer. So now she has to leave the kitchen where she's trying to cook to come over to the laundry room to show me how to use the washer because I'm an idiot. So let's see how tonight goes. First of all, let's just address the elephant in the room.
And right off the bat, as soon as he starts talking about Cat, he immediately uses terminology that he knows that he shouldn't be using. Because he has outright acknowledged in the past that people compare Cat to a horse. And he has to know that people have been talking about how much weight that she has gained since she's been back on the streams. So using the term elephant in reference to Cat is just poor form. And honestly, something that you would think he would go out of his way not to do. It's just a nice thing to do for your wife, but I really shouldn't be surprised because the first time that he brought her back, he immediately was telling everybody that she in fact was not pregnant and that he doesn't know who started that rumor, because apparently he's the only husband in the world that doesn't know that you're not supposed to insinuate that she looks pregnant.
Originally tonight was supposed to be co-op with my wife, Kat. We were going to start Beyond Two Souls. All right. What happened? Well, it seems like this playthrough, we came up with the idea for this playthrough about a month ago. All right. And it just seems like it's like destined to have problems. Seriously. Like, we just can't get this thing going. First, we wanted to do it, but I was stuck in the midst of playing so many lengthy RPGs and trying to push to finish them. It didn't make sense to start it then because I needed to finish those RPGs to get the variety back on the channel.
I know that it doesn't need to be said again, but I will say it for anybody who's showing up here for the first time. DSP absolutely didn't need to finish any of those RPGs if he didn't want to, and it was all his decision. He's the only person that's in charge of his schedule, and he can play whatever game whenever he wants if that's how he feels about it. When it comes to this situation specifically in pushing off the co-op streams with Cat so that he could finish those RPGs just to bring variety back, that doesn't even begin to make any sense because doing the co-op streams would have brought that variety back instantly. So the whole plan was just flawed from the start.
So I did that, right? Like I pushed hard. Okay, we're going to do it. And we got them all done. Then originally we were going to do it like 2 weeks ago on a Tuesday night, and basically it didn't go, you know, my wife wasn't up to it that week. She changed her mind. It was basically like, I'm not feeling it. Too much else going on. Let's delay it. So he said, all right, we'll do it the next week. We were gung-ho 100% locked in schedule to do it this last Tuesday, which would have been what? The 9th, right? April 9th. We were 100% ready to go. We have all the stuff we need. We have 2 of these headsets now.
Oh, well, of course, the most vital part to any good co-op stream is, of course, having dual neck phones. Now, that's what I would call robust. Because how is anybody supposed to have a good co-op experience without having a toilet seat draped around their neck? But yes, DSP absolutely did get a second pair of neck phones just for Cat in these streams. But don't think for a second that he paid for it. Of course, a dent had to donate it to him. You really think for a second that DSP was actually going to spend money on something that would benefit his streams? I don't think so, bud.
So each of us can have one when we do it. We bought all these wire. We bought a splitter wire. We bought extra headphone cables for it and everything. You know, we got a chair for, we're ready. We're raring to go. I bought fun. The game was on sale last month. I got it for like $12 on PSN. It's installed. It's like, we are 100% good to go.
I know that I was just giving DSP shit for not spending any money to actually benefit his stream, but this is probably the most I've ever seen him be prepared to actually do something. I still don't think that it's going to be of quality, just based off of the fact that it's going to be a DSP stream, and unfortunately for everybody, Kat is going to be there, and she is as fun as a wet towel. And trust me, I don't want to give him too much credit because he had multiple months to get this set up, so it's not exactly like he was strapped on time to get this all set up.
What ends up happening is, my wife's work basically changed her schedule on her. Unbeknownst to her, they didn't even tell her. She just happened to be checking the schedule online. And it's like, the whole schedule's different. She's like, wait, what? I've had the same schedule set for a while. Why would they do this and not even talk to me about it? Right?
And I feel for Kat's plight there. I definitely understand. That's not a nice thing to do to somebody. If you're going to have somebody working the same schedule fairly consistently, if you're going to change it up, you probably should tell them. That's the nice thing to do. It's very courteous. But on the other hand, that's how that industry works. When you're in retail, you have to check the schedule fairly frequently to make sure that nothing has changed. So unless the change in schedule goes against some previously discussed exemption that you have where you need an allotted amount of time for some reason, you really can't complain about it. It just comes with the territory of working a job like retail. It's one of the many, many things that makes retail not an ideal job to have for a long time. But it's irritating that we even have to talk about this because this is just another day in the real world. People's schedules get shifted around and they have to change their plans. And that's really all he had to say. They changed her schedule. That's it. She couldn't do the stream. But no, we have to sit here and act as though this is some sort of injustice done upon Kat. Give me a break.
So it threw our whole week into it for a loop. Remember, we were going to take Wednesday off this past week because April 10th is our wedding anniversary. So we were going to have that as our day off. We were going to have a longer streaming week this week. You know, we wanted to be together for our wedding anniversary. But because they changed her work schedule, that all had to get changed. So our day off ended up being the day after our wedding anniversary. And because her work schedule changed, we couldn't do the co-op on Tuesday. Now, originally, we were thinking about maybe we'll cram it in on Wednesday night, maybe, and we were talking about that and saying, let's do it. But then we realized, you know, to cram it in on the Wednesday night when she'd been working nonstop all week, plus that we were going to go out the entire Thursday, we would rather have a relaxing night the night before our entire busy day out.
And this is just wild to me. They decided that they couldn't do the stream the night before their day off because they were going to go outside. Because of course, every normal person that I know has to take an entire day's worth of preparation just to go outside. And maybe I could understand if they were actually going on a trip or going somewhere and they had to do something. But they were going out for their anniversary. They went to the store, they went to the pet store, and then they went out to eat for dinner. That's not exactly an arduous task. That's not something that requires a lot of energy. So I'm just failing to see why they couldn't spend 3 hours the night before they went out for their anniversary doing the stream that they said that they were going to do. But of course, chilling and relaxing is far more important than delivering upon the content that you very specifically hyped up for, what, multiple months in a row and promised multiple times was going to happen. Who gives a shit if these dents pay your bills, dude?
So we decided against it. We're like, nah, let's not do the co-op. I'll do a regular night stream and, you know, we'll have a day out and then we'll have it. So we talked about it. We were like, when should we do it then? And we realized, you know, it might make more sense to do it on a weekend because typically she doesn't have to work weekends. Not every time, because like I said, her schedule could change, but typically she's not working over weekends. So we're like, maybe like Saturday nights would be perfect because number one, she won't be overly exhausted from working. Number two, it's a night, you know, usually typically on weekends, more people can attend, right? People aren't in school, aren't in work, they're out and they could come by and stream a little bit more. Like, well, a lot of people want to see our Stu co-op. It'd be pretty cool. We do the co-op on the weekend. We'll probably get more viewers.
And this is going to be one of the few things that he says during this entire clip that makes any sense at all. Yes, I would believe that you are inclined to get more viewership on a weekend when people typically have more free time. Seems pretty straightforward, and I don't know why you didn't come to this conclusion beforehand. Not only has he been a content creator for 16 years now, he should know the ebb and flow of making content. But YouTube will straight up tell you exactly when your viewers are typically on their platform. It's all laid out in a graph. It tells you what hours and what days.
So we totally agreed to this. Like, yeah, this is great. This will work out, right? So then here's what happened is we had our day out on Thursday, and it was a great day. Don't get me wrong. We did a lot of fun stuff together, did some shopping, had a great dinner. We talked about it on the podcast yesterday, how good of a day it was, right?
Shopping and dinner, like I said, just a normal Phil's day off, except instead of getting DoorDash, they actually went to a restaurant. Not exactly something extraordinary, and definitely not something that required an entire night's preparation of relaxation.
But basically, because of that, we were behind on stuff. Like my wife is behind on things she would normally do, like loads of laundry and doing certain housework and stuff like that.
And this is really when the fun begins, because you're going to find out very soon, in case you didn't already know, that DSP is absolutely useless as a husband and household operator. Also, notice how quickly it went from we're behind on stuff to Kat's behind on things that she has to do, like household chores and the laundry. Now, I don't know how all of you operate your household, but when my house is behind on laundry, we are behind on laundry. It's not my girlfriend's job to do all of the laundry. Not to brag or anything, but I actually do the laundry, aside from folding it. But that's really neither here nor there.
So, you know, this morning we get up and we're having breakfast and we're talking about it and we're kind of like, yeah, you know, we're still on par. We're going to do the co-op tonight. And I could already tell a little bit that maybe Kat was a little like frazzled about it. And you know, I didn't know why or anything, but you know, we're still set to do it.
But you didn't bother to ask her? You didn't bother talking to her about it so that you could reassure her that everything was going to be okay because she's going to be out of her element and maybe she was nervous about it? Didn't even cross your mind. You just looked back down at your phone and continued pulling, huh?
So I did my first stream, and as I finished my first stream, I went downstairs into the kitchen, and here's Kat hurriedly trying to finish dinner, and that's surprising because usually she's done with dinner. A lot of times she finishes dinner early, and she's rushing to try to finish dinner as I'm coming down from my stream, and I know immediately something's wrong, and you can tell she's really stressed out. And I said, oh, what's going on? She goes, so I'm trying to do one thing and another thing goes wrong. I try to do the next thing and the next thing goes wrong. I said, so basically it's one of those Murphy's Law situations, right? As I'm in the kitchen with my wife and she's trying to finish dinner, a noise goes up. It's our washing machine. She's trying to wash clothes, and this washing machine has errored out saying uneven load 3 times. So she's been trying to do a load of clothes for over an hour and can't even finish it because the goddamn washer keeps saying uneven load.
Well, if it's errored out 3 times, I'm willing to bet that there's something that isn't going right with the actual load of laundry, and you might want to look into it rather than just continuously restarting it. But of course, what do I know? I don't exactly have a degree in laundry.
So I said, I'll go look at the washer. You focus on dinner. Let's work together. Let's figure all this out. I don't even know what was wrong with the load of clothes. Honestly, I went in and it was just a bunch of towels and a few pieces of clothing. It's like, I don't know why it's saying uneven load. I have no idea. You know, I'm separating it. What we're supposed to do, you separate it out so they're not lumped together. You toss them back in fresh, even though they're soaked. You know, you got to keep doing that so that they won't keep doing that, right? So said that's wrong. He says it means the load is too heavy. That's not what it means. What it means is somehow what's in your washer has become loaded to like one side or clumped together to the point where the washer can't effectively move the clothes anymore. They're stuck in place. So then it stops to prevent the washer from moving across your floor or causing damage to the washer.
And do you want to know one of the main reasons why it is that they might get stuck and not be able to move anymore, DSP? It's because the load is too goddamn heavy. There's too much shit in there. And given the size of your lady's clothes and the fact that you said there was multiple towels and shit in there, I'm willing to bet that it was a fairly decent sized load. But I do love how quick he was to just shirk off that person's comment. Even though we're going to find out very quickly that he has no idea how his washing machine even works. I also love how he says that you just have to keep doing that when it says uneven load. You have to keep opening up the washing machine and spreading the clothes out. Like I said, maybe once or twice because it's a fluke chance. But if you're doing it more than that, you probably need an alternative course of action.
So anyway, basically I cleared it up, right? I go to start the washer again. I stupidly hit the power button. Instead of the resume button, I hit the power button. So it resets the whole goddamn thing.
It resets the whole goddamn thing. Listen to this guy actually try and make a washing machine sound more complicated than it actually is. The only thing that it could possibly be resetting is the cycle, DSP. That's it. It was on a timer and now the timer has reset back to nothing. There's no whole goddamn thing to it. I just don't know whether or not he's making it sound more complicated out of malice or because that's just how he talks at this point. Because he does do this with everything. He makes every single task sound far more complicated than it actually is. Is that just second nature for him now, or is he always being a malicious piece of shit?
Now I don't need to wash the clothes the whole full setting again. So I was like, well, I'll wait. So I got to call the cat. I screwed everything up because I'm an idiot. I don't know what I'm doing. I screwed the whole load up. What do I do? So now she has to leave the kitchen where she's trying to cook to come over to the laundry room to show me how to use the washer because I'm an idiot. Right? So it's like, why did I even help? I just complicated things even worse.
And think about how truly pathetic that actually is, and he's sitting here laughing and smiling about it. This guy really tried to help his wife who was having a stressful day, who was going to appear on his stream and was actively cooking him dinner, and he couldn't even be asked to properly do a load of laundry. In fact, he probably made the situation worse and she had to come fix the problem anyway. And the fact that he had to call her over away from making dinner simply so that she could put it on a shorter cycle is insane, and just proves that he doesn't understand how his own washing machine works. And that's probably the same washing machine that's been in that house the entire time that he's owned it. Which then begs the question, did he ever figure out how to operate it after Panda Lee left? Was he just not washing his clothes, or did he forget after Cat showed up because it's been literally so long? And I want to point out that there was really no problem that he was having anyway. Yes, he turned the washing machine off and it reset the cycle, but you can just run the clothes for the full cycle again. It doesn't actually matter. This wasn't something that had to be fixed. There was no issue.
Right? So finally, we get it going again on like a short cycle. It's like 15-minute short cycles, like short spin cycle or something like that, right? Go back to the kitchen. So basically trying to finish, and I could tell Kat is completely stressed out. And I said, so what's going on? And she's like, basically, the whole week has been a shit show, right? Ever since the work schedule changed earlier this week, and then she had to work more days and different times, it threw her schedule off. So here she is, she's behind on all this stuff. And she's like, I need to get clothes done today. I need to do this. She's like, tell me all the stuff she has to do. And she's like, I would have had it all done, but that work throwing me off. And then we had our day off for our anniversary. If we had stayed home that day, I would have had more time to catch up, but we didn't. We went out, and not that she regrets that. She loved having the day out, but basically she just can't play. She's been playing catch up all week and hasn't yet, right?
So she's apparently been catching up all week, according to DSP. But I have yet to hear a single thing that DSP actually did to help her during this stressful week that she's been having. A very simple thing that would have helped Kat immensely, apparently, is if he would have just started a load of laundry before he started his stream and then swapped it over after the stream. It doesn't take that long to start a load of laundry, and I'm sure that the help would have been appreciated. But of course, this is DSP we're talking about. The only person that he cares about is himself. I've also just now realized that Flathead Screwdriver is in DSP's chat and saying ALT and Atlas in shambles, because we absolutely were. We were excited for the Cat co-op stream and we got Gugats. But big ups for the shout out, I guess, Flathead Screwdriver.
And I'm like, well, what do you want to do? You know, and basically here's my actual honest take on this, okay? Why on earth are we going to be doing co-op tonight if she's going to be stressed out, right?
Because you hyped your viewers up, DSP, because this was a piece of content that you promised. A piece of content that you promised and canceled multiple times now. I understand what you're going to be getting at here. I know that nobody wants to do things while they're stressed out and no one wants to be in a stressful situation, but sometimes you just don't have a choice, especially when it comes to the people that pay your bills. You promised these people a piece of content and you didn't deliver on it multiple times now. You had all week to help her catch up, according to you, and you didn't lift a single goddamn finger. So this is partially on you too, DSP. This is you not delivering on content and you had complete control over it. Way to go, champ.
The whole idea of us coming in here and doing anything together on a stream is that it's supposed to be a fun atmosphere, right? We're going to have fun together. We're going to play a game. We're going to talk and do Q&A with the audience or whatever it may be, right? If she's already stressed out and now she's going to come in here and try to play a game, you know that's just going to translate into her demeanor and her enjoyment of the stream in general. And you also know, let's be honest, you also know that the trolls are going to be here. I already see some of them in chat saying dumb shit. I'm kind of ignoring them now to at least give my explanation. But that's the thing. Like, what's the point of doing a late night stream with my wife where we're supposed to be having fun together if she's not going to have fun because she's stressed out? It doesn't make sense, right?
Really, the biggest question to me is, why is playing video games with her husband such a stressful endeavor for her? Why is it something that she cannot be tired for? You can pretty much play games no matter what your health actually is. You don't have to be in peak physical shape in order to play games, and you definitely don't have to be wide awake for it either. That's what makes this so irritating, because he's constantly promising that this is going to happen, he gives a time that it's going to happen, people get prepared for it, and then he just pulls the rug last minute. The only time that the cancellation was actually justifiable was when she had to go to work, because I don't expect her to call into her job to sit here and play video games with your bum ass. But I don't think that being too tired is necessarily an excuse as to why you couldn't do the content. And if you're that far behind on chores, it sounds like you have more of a time management problem than anything else. Maybe that's just another trait that she picked up from living with DSP though.
So I said to her, I said, if you're stressed out and all you want to do tonight is play catch up or do some relaxing or whatever you want to do, that's perfectly fine. Just tell me now. And that way, we're not being forced into a situation where we're doing a stream that's not going to work because, you know, we're going to be stressed out and upset or whatever. And she's like, yeah, I don't want to do it. She's like, I want to do it, but let's do it on a week when I'm not so stressed out because she's so backed up and everything. Okay?
And this is why I called this video what I called it. Despite all of the information that DSP had, he knew that she had a rough week, that she was behind on chores, that she was already having a bad day and nothing was going right. He was still putting it on her to cancel the stream. He didn't take it upon himself and say, honey, I can tell you're stressed out. I recommend that we just push this off and we do it another day, because I don't think that it would be a good idea for us to do this given your current state. He didn't do that. He said, what do you want to do? Why don't you go ahead and cancel the stream so that everybody can blame you instead of me? And even if that was the case, even if she did tell him, hey, I don't want to do the stream tonight because I just can't do it, can you cancel it? He should not have gotten on stream and told everybody that that's what happened. He shouldn't in any way, shape, or form be putting any of the blame on Kat, because as a husband, you should be taking the brunt of all of this. You should be taking the fall. Not only because it's your audience, but because that's the thing that you have to do. I'll even take it one step further and acknowledge the fact that anytime my girlfriend wants to cancel plans and doesn't want to do something, I actively tell her to throw me under the bus and blame me for why we can go somewhere. Because if that allows her to save face and that's what she wants to do, I'm perfectly okay with that. Because I would much rather people have a negative opinion about me and think that I'm always canceling our plans rather than her.
So basically, we agreed we're going to do it next weekend. We're going to do it next Saturday night. She wants to do it badly. She wants to play this game. And in fact, of course, she was very apologetic. She's like, I'm nervous now. Is everyone going to be upset? I said, you don't have to worry. It's like, listen, number one, all right? This is our life together. It's not dictated by what happens on one of my work streams, right? Just because we told them we're going to do co-op, it doesn't mean that's the end of the world. And now we're all hugely have to be committed to doing this. It's ridiculous, right? It's supposed to be something nice in addition to something that we already do.
Wait, isn't this Mr. Schedule? Isn't this the guy that's constantly telling us that he treats this like a professional job and he's here every single day when he says that he's going to be here, even though he's always 30 minutes late, but that's besides the point. Isn't that the guy right now? But now all of a sudden we have this laid back attitude. It doesn't matter whether or not we do the content that we say that we were going to do. It's not the end of the world. Which one is it, DSP? Because you don't get to claim both around here. You really just need to say what you mean and mean what you say. But I really don't know why I would sit here and expect DSP of all people to be a man of his word and do the thing that he says that he's going to do, because he's always talking about how he's going to ignore the haters and trolls and move on positively with his content, and I have yet to see that actually happen.
You know what I'm saying? Like, it's not the end of the world. Not everyone's going to freak out, you know? It's not, that's the thing. I think she genuinely feels sad and worried that people aren't going to want to see the co-op now because it keeps getting rescheduled. So what I basically have to say is it's this simple. When she's ready to come on to do it, we'll do it. And she says, let's do it next Saturday. She wanted to do it tonight, but it's just things just kept getting backed up and backed up and backed up and backed up to the point where it's like, to even come on here tonight, she's going to feel so stressed. What's the point, right?
Well, again, the point would be because you promised the content to your audience multiple times now and have continued to cancel. That would be the entire point, actually. It would also be really nice if you just quit stringing ALT along. He keeps preparing to do the co-op cat stream, and because you keep canceling, he also has to keep canceling. So quit doing my boy dirty like that.
That's exactly right, Orange. Orange says, it's okay, tell Cat she just doesn't owe us anything. Correct, right? Like, absolutely correct. She doesn't owe anyone anything. She doesn't have to be on a stream. There's no commitment. If she really doesn't want to do the co-op, we never have to do it. But she wants to. Like, she genuinely wants to do it. It just, things keep happening that make it be screwed up and delayed. We were 100% ready for Tuesday. Then her work schedule changed. Then we were going to do it Wednesday. And then we're like, oh, shit, after her working the several days, then she was tired. And now, now we're going to do it tonight. But now this is happening. It's like, this is the thing after a thing after a thing, right?
But she does factually owe them something now, because you announced on your stream that this was a piece of content that people were going to be able to watch. After you made that announcement, as far as I'm concerned, you made a verbal contract that this is in fact a piece of content that will be created. If there was ever a doubt again in your mind that this wasn't going to happen, DSP, then you should not have announced it when you did. You should have waited. And I'm struggling to believe that this is something that she actually wants to do. Because, and I can only speak for myself here, when I really want to do something, I make sure that I have the time to do it. I go out of my way to do all of the other things that I need to do beforehand in order to make sure that I can in fact do it. That's why Friday when I get off of work, I spend a bunch of my time doing a bunch of chores. That way on a Saturday morning when I want to stream, I can do that. And that's actually a very similar situation to what DSP finds himself in now. If they really wanted to do the co-op stream on a Saturday night, then they needed to make sure that during the week that they did all of the things that they had to do in order to make sure they had the time to do the stream. It's really not all that complicated to figure out.
So then next week, again, tentative, let's say Saturday night for next week. If we do it, we want to do it on a Saturday night at this point, okay? I think it makes more sense to do it on a Saturday night because, again, more people attending or whatever. And it wouldn't, coincide with her work. Usually she doesn't work on the weekends. So I think it's going to be fine. And here's the other thing. I make my own schedule. This is not like, oh, no, the boss is going to be upset at us. What boss? I'm the boss, right? So I do whatever I want.
Is that the case, DSP? You do whatever you want. That's why you're constantly looking for feedback and asking everybody to tell you what you should be playing on your streams. He just comes off like such a smug piece of shit. I'm the boss. I do what I want. You don't make any of your own decisions for yourself. You might as well let the people be in charge of your OBS for you. All you are is a goddamn Muppet for the few pay pigs that actually pay your bills.
Like, well, you know what? Like I said, once a month, we've been having these late night chill streams where we just hang out and talk and have a good time. And people want more of them. They've outright told me the desire that over time they want more of these chill session streams rather than it being so focused on always gameplay, or something set. They like the fact that every once in a while something impromptu or different happens, that the schedule will change. It feels a little bit looser, right? I'm down for that, okay?
And the only person that I ever heard, or rather saw, say that they wanted more of these chill Q&A style streams is that one dent that left the suggestion that DSP absolutely loved because it confirmed all of the things that he's been talking about. How he needs to move away from video game content and he needs to spend more time yapping at the camera like anybody gives a shit. So to whoever wrote that comment, if you do indeed exist and it wasn't actually DSP the whole time, you can sit and spin because these streams are absolutely miserable and a waste of everybody's time.
I'm totally 100% down for that. And I hope you guys understand. If you do understand, thank you. If you don't understand, well, I can't help you. You know, that's life. You're going to find out as you get older that these kind of things happen all the time. And you better learn to be adaptable, because if you're not, and you're one of these people who's just so stubborn, you're going to learn real fast that not everything goes according to plan the older you get. And then you got to find ways to call an audible, as they say in like professional football, you know, American football. You got to find a way to adjust on the fly and make stuff work. You know what I mean?
And I know that we do this a lot, and I'm going to continue to do it because it's just so absurd to me. I thought that DSP's audience was from 30 to 40 years old. What 30 to 40-year-old hasn't realized yet that they have to be adaptable, that they have to be flexible, and that things change on the fly? He very specifically even went out of his way to say, as you grow older, you will learn. How much older do these people have to be to learn this, DSP? If they haven't learned it by now, I'm starting to be concerned that they have some sort of disability, which you have confirmed to us does not matter, by the way. It's just a factual observation.
You can't just sit there and break down and cry or fall apart when things don't go according to your plans. So in this case, listen, we're going to do the co-op. Unless some crazy extenuating circumstance happens, we're going to do the co-op eventually. It's just not happening right now. And, next week we'll give it another go on Saturday night. We'll see what happens. And hopefully everything does. See, the thing is, next week, now she knows her schedule ahead of time. It didn't change. So now she knows the schedule ahead of time. We are not going to have a day out that's going to be more stressful. We're going to have a more relaxing day at home for our day off next week. So she'll have time to do things that, like, these errands around the house and things, and not going to get backed up on stuff. So I think we'll be all right for next week. We'll see. Okay?
I'm still noticing that DSP didn't mention a single time that he was going to maybe help her next week with some of these chores to guarantee that she was going to be able to do the stream and not be too tired. Just another one of those things I noticed, because if I was going to be canceling content due to a reason, I would be sure to tell people that, hey, next week when I actually do wind up doing that piece of content, I will make sure that I'm able to do it. But I guess that is why this stream got canceled 3 different times, isn't it? Because putting any sort of effort into doing the things that you say that you are going to do is just far too much work for DSP.
But will it be absolutely 100% every week moving forward? I don't know. It might not be. Again, it depends on life. It's not a big deal. I think it's special when we finally get to do it, right? It'll feel like something special. And I think the reason why basically people react this way, like seeing people in the chat being like, oh my God, what is it this time? Blah, 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 being stupid about it. It's because otherwise I'm a fairly consistent individual, right? I make a schedule. I adhere to it. My work schedule is set. Boom, boom, boom. Like clockwork, I'm going to be here every day. 2 streams, if possible. Sometimes it's only 1. It's mostly 2 streams almost every day. You know what I'm saying? You definitely know what's going on.
I think the real problem, DSP, is that you continuously tell these people that it's going to happen and then cancel it very last minute with some bullshit excuse that doesn't even make any sense. Because like I said, being too tired to play a video game is not an excuse. And there's 100 different ways that you could have solved the problem of being behind on chores before the day of the stream that you were supposed to do. You just didn't give a shit enough. And I think that's the problem with all of your content. It's so obvious that you don't give a shit and you couldn't care less that it rubs everybody the wrong way. If you were just upfront and honest and told people you didn't give a shit, it would be one thing. But you're constantly going out of your way to tell everybody very specifically that you do care, this is important to you, and in fact, this is your only source of income. I think a little bit of honesty would just go a long way.
So, that's the deal. And sometimes things go awry, but it's a rarity, right? It just so happens that getting this co-op going has been the thing that's gone awry in the last couple of weeks that keeps, basically being annoying that we can't make it happen, right? And I agree with you there that, when you're down to consistency and you're used to consistency and you don't have that consistency, it can bother you. But understand something, this co-op is different. This is not You know, Kat is not a paid employee of mine. She's not me, right? We're doing our best to try to make this happen for you guys, to do something a little special. It will happen eventually. And I want to say thank you to those who are understanding and appreciative and being very nice with you, or with us, I should say, over this. You know, it is what it is. And now we're just going to have a chill night tonight where we kind of interact and talk and go from there.
And it was in fact a very chill night stream where we talked about absolutely nothing and wasted everybody's time. And because really nothing else happened except a terrible PS5 controller unboxing, we're gonna go ahead and take a look at some of the comments from my last video. So of course, it's shout out to the 60 skulls. I love you guys. Thank you. Sinner2442 says, imagine being in your 40s and crying about bullying. Wah, wah, mommy, those kids are picking on me. Yeah, I kind of had the same thought when I was making that video. Imagine being so pathetic that you're 42 years old complaining on the internet that people are calling you mean names and saying lies about you. If it's that big of a deal, boss, get the hell off the internet. If not, shut up. Trollin39 says, don't forget that at the end of the interview, how badly he had to get out Ket's restraining order. The desire to overshare is still raging. And this is in reference to me saying that back before Ket was in the picture, he overshared all of the time and gave everybody far more personal information than they really needed. And I think that Trollin has a point here. I think that DSP desperately wants to tell everybody everything still. He's just gotten fairly decent at holding that information in. He still slips up every once in a while and tells people things that they probably don't need to know, but he's definitely gotten much better at it. Now, instead of getting deep personal information about his marriage, he's just more likely to tell you that Jasper threw up in the bed, which is still information that nobody needed to know and only makes him look worse because he refuses to get the blood work done, but still not as juicy for the lore. And Conan7354 says, that message was definitely written by either him or one of his super fans as an excuse to tell his revisionist story. I'm a firm believer that the comment was actually written by him. Not only does it appear to use the same language that he does all of the time, but it hits on so many of the talking points that he's constantly trying to hit, and it really fits in line with just how pathetic he's become. But I guess nobody will really ever know the truth, and that's totally fine with me. It doesn't really matter one way or another. Of course, I want to give a shout out to everybody who watched the video, especially if you made it this far. Hopefully I'll catch all of you guys in the next video, but until then, make sure that you check out other detractor content and dive deeper into that. Snortex.